All right, so hey guys, happy DLD day. Couple of things. One, make sure that you have this review guide. You got this yesterday. If you don't have it, you can download it and print out one. So we're going to start off with problems 1 and 2. Remember, you're supposed to fill these out before you actually check these answers. Okay, I'm not interested in just copying it down. I'm interested in you actually learning it. Okay, so on the first one, I would have graphed this. So when you type this in, you want to make sure that you don't have that +3 in the exponent. A lot of people do that. So make sure that you check that. Okay. So for domain, we're going to have negative infinity to positive infinity. So it's going to go from left to right, negative infinity to positive infinity, because we can plug in any number. For range, we go from negative infinity, which is down here, to right here. Well, that's 3. Okay, so we go from negative infinity to 3. Notice how I use parentheses and not brackets, because it doesn't actually touch that 3. Okay, this is an asymptote at 3. I talked about that the other day. It's where it levels off but never actually touches. Another way you can see it is in the equation. It's whatever number's added out here on the outside. The function has a y-intercept of 0, 0, because that's where it crosses the y-axis. And it also has an x-intercept of 0, 0. It doesn't always work like that where they both are the same, but sometimes it does. The true or false, the function is decreasing for all real numbers. So is it constantly going down? Yes, true. So as x decreases, what's happening to our y values? Where are they going towards? Well, they're going towards 3. They're approaching 3. Okay. As x increases, f of x is decreasing or going to negative infinity. When we talk about positive and negative, what we're saying is above the x-axis is positive. So from negative infinity to 0 is positive. Again, using parentheses. And then from 0 to positive infinity is when it's negative. Okay. Average rate of change. So this is from 0 to 2. What I would suggest is, again, using that Desmos and going in here and clicking this little gear button and then clicking on the table. Okay, so what that's going to do is that's going to bring up the table, and you can use this table to fill in the one that's on the side. If you ever need more numbers, like if you need extra things, you can just type the next couple of numbers and hit enter, and it'll bring all that table up. Now, this one's the average rate of change from 0 to 2. We talked about this yesterday, where here's the equation for average rate of change. It's just slope. And we want to go from 0 to 2. So this is going to be my x1. That's going to be my x2. It's going to be my y1. That's going to be my y2. We're going to take that and plug it in. It's going to be -9 minus 0 over 2 minus 0. So this is going to give me -9 over 2, which is going to give me -4.5. So -4.5. Now you can keep that as a fraction. That's totally fine. Okay. Again, using this table, you're going to fill in the table on the other side. Now, when you graph it, make sure that you pick like 2 or 3 points. I don't expect you to have a perfect graph, but I do expect you to show me like kind of where the asymptote is and what direction this is going in. So if you can graph at least like 2 or 3 points, then you should be okay. Okay. Number 2. All right, so we're going to use this table to answer the questions. So what I would do is I would go ahead and insert this table into Desmos so I can see a graph of it, just to kind of help me out. So the way you do that is you hit this little plus sign, you hit table, and then you just type in the table. So, okay, so we can already see that there's this like exponential curve going. So is this decaying or is this growing? Well, we can see that the numbers are going down, right? So this is going to be decay. Now, growth factor or decay factor. The way we find that is we take our second number and we divide it by our first number. So what's 9 divided by 27? So that's going to give me a decimal, or you can simplify this to 1/3. That's going to be 1/3 for our decay factor. What is the y-intercept? Well, if we look at our table, when x is 0, our y is 3. So we're going to write out as 0, 3. Now, the question is, does it ever cross the x-axis? Well, if we continue this table, the next number we're going to divide by 3. That's going to give me 1/9. Next number we're going to divide by 3. That's going to be 1/27. Next number we're going to divide by 3. So we're going to keep going. And what's going to happen is we're never going to have an x-intercept. It's never going to cross the x-axis because the asymptote is at y equals 0. Is the function increasing or decreasing? We can see from the graph that it's decreasing. And then here's the tricky part. So writing an equation. Remember, for exponential, we've got a times b raised to the x. A is our initial amount. So what did we start with here? We started with 3. And what are we going down by? Well, our decay factor is 1/3. And you always want to check and make sure that it actually works for everything, which it does. Okay, so like if I took this and I plug this equation in to Desmos, sorry. And make sure that you type it in correctly. I think that's the biggest part. And then we come in here and go gear button table. This should be the same table. And if it's not, then you've done something wrong. Okay. Average rate of change from -1 to 1. Again, that y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. From -1 to 1. So from here to here. So this is x1, x2, y1, y2. So this is going to be 1 minus 9 over 1 minus -1, which we know negative makes positive. That's going to give me -8 over 2. -8 divided by 2 is -4. Okay. So again, you should have tried those before you checked your work. Okay. Remember, next week, you've got a mastery check over transformations, which is what we're going to talk about on Monday. And then you've got a writing and equations, which is going to be on March 21st. That's going to be a lot like what this is, very similar. And then your Unit 5 test is on March 22nd. So, all right, y'all have a great day.